What makes a great drum groove? Is it creativity? Is it originality? Is it less is more? Or is it a little bit of everything? Who knows? But in this lesson, I'm going to show you a list of top 10 drum grooves of all time. What's up everyone, CJ here, hope you're all doing well. We have 10 drum grooves to go through, so I'm not gonna do that much talking, but before we get started, all my channel members out there can download everything from this lesson via the link in the community tab. So if you want some extra bonus content, consider joining the channel membership. Also, for obvious copyright reasons, I'm not gonna play to the actual songs in this video. Alright you guys, let's get started with groove number 1. We're starting off heavy with a chorus groove from the song Smells Like Teen Spirit from the album Nevermind by Nirvana. And the drummer, of course, is Dave Grohl. It's fairly simple, but you need to play it with force. You'll play eighth notes on an open hi-hat, accenting the quarter notes. The snare drum plays the backbeat on 2 and 4, with syncopated hits on the of 2 and the E of 3. The bass drum plays on beat 1, the of 1, beat 3, and of 3, and on the and of 4. Let's start at a slow tempo and then gradually speed it up to the original tempo. It's such a badass groove. On to the next one. For groove number 2, we're heading into the world of funk. This groove is from the song Cold Sweat from the album with the same name by James Brown. And the drummer behind this legendary groove is of course Clyde Stubblefield. This is a 2-bar phrase and there's a lot going on here. The hi-hat plays eighth notes with open hi-hats on the ands of beat 1 and 3. In the first measure, the bass drum plays on beat 1 and 3 and. In the second measure, the bass drum plays on the and of 1, 3 and on the and of 4. The snare drum plays accents on beat 2 and on the and of 4, and a ghost note on the of 2 in the first measure. And in the second measure, it plays accents on beat 2 and 4, with ghost notes on the E of 1, the of 2, and on the E of 3. Let's try it out. Great job, you guys. On to groove number 3. This is not to be mistaken for the Money groove. This is the groove from the song Money from the album Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Nick Mason, the drummer of Pink Floyd, is probably not referred to as the most technical drummer out there, but everything he plays just fits perfectly with Pink Floyd. This groove is in 7/4 with a bluesy kind of shuffle feel to it, and the hi-hat plays quarter notes. Notice that you play a crash on every beat 1 and 7. The snare drum plays the backbeat on beat 2, 4, and 6. And the bass drum plays on beat 1, 3 and, beat 5, and beat 7. The 3 and with the bass drum is played swung, so that's where the shuffle comes in. I'll break it down slowly at first and then gradually speed it up. On to groove number 4. The drum beat of all drum beats. This groove is from the song Rosanna from the album Toto 4 by the band Toto. This groove is a halftime shuffle, heavily influenced by John Bonham and Bernard Purdie, so let's break it down. It's a 2-bar phrase, and the hi-hat plays the shuffle. In the first measure, the bass drum plays on beat 1, the of 2, and on beat 4. In the second measure, it plays on the of 1 and the of 4. So the bass drum plays the Bo Diddley rhythm. The snare drum plays the backbeat on beat 3 in both measures, and you play ghost notes in each middle triplet of the groove. Let's try it out. Such a great groove from such a great drummer. Let's move on to groove number 5. In the drumming community, this groove is probably considered one of the most badass grooves of all time. This groove is from the song Eulogy from the album Anima by Tool. And the drummer, of course, is Danny Mother carry. This is a tough one, so bear with me here. The hi-hat plays 16th notes, and you open the hi-hat on every dotted 8th note, which means every third 16th note. So this groove revolves after 3 measures. The bass drum plays on the 1E, the of 2, and the E and of 3 in every measure. And the snare drum plays the backbeat on 2 and 4. So with just the kick and snare drum, you have the doo-doo, ba, doo-doo-doo, ba, doo-doo, ba, doo-doo-doo, ba. Let's take it slow at first and then speed it up. Great job, everyone. We're halfway through, so make sure you're a subscriber before this video ends. Groove number 6. Now, going from some crazy drum grooves, let's dial back a bit on the difficulty. This next groove is from the song My Doorbell from the album Get Behind Me, Satan by the White Stripes. And the drummer for White Stripes is, of course, Meg White. Meg's drumming is definitely not technical, but it fits the music perfectly and it's really memorable. No flash and no chops, and thank goodness for that. The groove starts with just kick and snare. The bass drum plays on beat 1 and on the 3E. The snare drum plays the backbeat on 2 and 4. Further into the song, there is a tambourine that follows every note of the drum set. So if you have one, you can place it on your hi-hat and add it to the groove. Let's try it out. Alright, you guys, on to groove number 7. This drum groove is so creative. It's from the song 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover from the album Still Crazy After All These Years by Paul Simon. And the drummer responsible for this groove is the legendary Steve Gadd. This is a really weird linear pattern in a 2-bar phrase, so let's break it down. In both measures, you'll play the hi-hat with the left hand on the E of 1 and on the 2 and. You'll also stomp the hi-hat on beat 1 and on the of 1. The bass drum plays on beat 1, the of 1, and on beat 3 in both measures. In the first measure, you play a floor tom together with the bass drum on beat 3, and in the second measure, you play 2 floor toms on beat 4. Now, if you don't have 2 floor toms, you can just play with both hands on 1 floor tom or the floor tom and a rack tom. The snare drum plays ghost notes with the right hand on the end of 1 and on the E of 2 in both measures. At the end of the first measure, Steve plays a grouping of 2 32nd notes followed by 3 16th notes on the snare drum, and the sticking here is right, right, left, right, left. So it's right, right, left, right, left. In the second measure, he ends with a double stroke roll on the snare drum played as 32nd notes, starting on the end of 4. Yeah, let's just break this down. Okay, you guys, moving on to groove number 8. Next up on this list is from the song Californication from the album with the same name by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And the drummer of Red Hot Chili Peppers is, of course, Chad Smith. On paper, this groove is not that difficult, but Chad is really unique with his feel behind the drum set. He varies with different open hi-hats and accents, but let's break down the basics of this groove. The hi-hat plays eighth notes with a slight accent on the quarter notes, and there seems to be a slightly open hi-hat on beat 1 and 3. The bass drum plays on beat 1 and on the end of 3. The snare drum plays the backbeat on 2 and 4, with ghost notes on the E-uh of 2, the E of 3, and the of 4. Chad seems to vary playing the of 4 as a diddle and a triplet diddle. I'll break it down as well as I can. Let's try it out. Awesome job, you guys. On to groove number 9. Who else would be able to put a Morse code into a drum groove if not Neil Peart of Rush? This is the intro groove from the song YYZ from the album Moving Pictures by Rush. This groove is in 5/4, and yes, the Morse code spells out YYZ, which is the abbreviation for the Toronto International Airport in Canada. Why it's YYZ, I have no idea. You play a loose hi-hat together with a snare drum on beat 1, the of 1, of 2, the and of 3, 4 and on beat 5. The bass drum plays on the and of 1, the E of 3, and on the and of 5. Gee, let's break it down, eh? Okay guys, time for the last groove. The last groove on this list is from one of my absolute favorite drummers of all time and someone who has influenced me greatly. This groove is from the song Sound of Muzak from the album In Absentia by Porcupine Tree. The drummer is the incredible Gavin Harrison. This groove is in 7/4, and honestly, I've never heard anyone play this like Gavin does. It's filled with ghost notes, so if it gets too tricky, try to practice it without them. The hi-hat plays eighth notes with an accented quarter note. You open the hi-hat on beat 7 of every measure. The bass drum plays a busy 7/16 pattern, so it plays on the 1 and, the of 2, the and of beat 3 and 4, the E of beat 5 and 6, and lastly on beat 7. The snare drum plays the backbeat on the E of 3, beat 4, of 5, and the and of 7. The ghost notes, honestly, I don't know exactly where he places them. It sounds like he's putting ghost notes on most of the empty spaces within the groove, but the ones that really stands out is the double stroke he does on the and of beat 6, right before the open hi-hat on beat 7. I'll break it down without ghost notes at a slow tempo, and then I'll add some at a faster tempo. Wish me luck! Alright, my friends, you made it. Those were 10 iconic grooves that I think every drummer should check out. Now, of course, there are tons of other great drum grooves that I did not include in this video. But who knows, I might do for a future video. I'd like to know, what are some of your favorite drum grooves out there? Feel free to start a conversation about it in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated whenever I release a new video. Now, if you want to learn some tasty drum fills, you can check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and good luck with your drumming. I'll see you soon.